The strongest yokai users in DanDaDan. This is the one thing that I love about DanDaDan so much. Among many things that I love about DanDaDan is that the plethora of different types of power systems, right? You got yokai, you got spirits, you got yokai users, the spirits when they take over a person's body and they can kind of like transform into yokai or spirits. Then you got like native myths, mythological creatures. You got aliens, you got mythical aliens, right? Kind of like the ancient Sumerians and like stuff like that. Then you got kind of like different forms of different classes of aliens. You got like human aliens that are like obsessed with controlling yokai powers, and they can use them through like different kinds of weapons and tools that they have. They don't even need to be possessed by the aliens, or I mean by the spirits. And then you got alien technology. That is another thing, like the nano stuff. That's personally my favorite. I love the nano weapon technology in DanDaDan. So listen, if you only watch the anime, I am going to be going over a lot of spoilers, and I probably already spoiled a little bit, talking about what's in the anime, but listen, or talking about what's in the manga, but listen, this is what we're doing, okay? We're going to be talking about the strongest yokai users. So the users that can transform from their, yokai spirits themselves and take on the embodiment of that spirit and use it in their own way, right? And we have, at the moment, well, in the anime, right, we formally have 5. Right now we only have 4, because in the manga, Granny and Okaroon had a deal that if he finds his pee-pee and ball sack, then they get to give their powers back to Granny, right? He gets to give his powers back to Turbo Granny, which is funny because he gave her the powers back and she still hasn't like turned into Turbo Granny. She's still in the kitty cat, the little the little stuffed animal. And I think she's slowly turning into a good guy, where she's like, I actually like being in this cat. Even though she's like really hard shelled on the outside, I think deep down she likes being around that family environment and looking out for everybody. Because like she goes back to being a yokai haunting a subway train and like or a substation, and it's just lonely, nasty, disgusting. Like, no, she likes to be. I think she likes to be around that family, eating all she wants. You know what I mean? Like, she's pretty much spoiled in the house, and she's actually like, she helps out a lot. You wouldn't think that she would help out as much as she does, but she helps. Fighting other yokai. She's a really good source of information on how to beat these things. Pretty much every yokai spirit you run into, she has information on them. She knows what they are and knows how to beat them. And when a demon gets resurrected, they just disappear. They don't even like. She even said like they don't even go to heaven, right? I don't even think they just kind of go into like this. I don't even know what to call it, like bliss. Like they just transcend from their form. And I don't think they go to heaven. I think it's kind of like a more like a Death Note thing, with like how Ryuk can't go into heaven. He just becomes a death god, right? God of death. And so anyway, we're going to be going over some of the strongest ranked, in my opinion. And yeah, we're going to start with Mrs. Mai Kawabanga. So she used to be Rin Sawaki. That's the vessel Rin. She's a new character. If you haven't caught up on the manga, sorry, whatever. She's a new character who, her Mai was like her best friend, and she got hit by a car, and I believe. And the guilt of that, because Rin told her she was going to go to this like recital with her, and she ended up not going. She ended up getting hit by a car, and Rin kind of blames herself for it. So Mai kind of turns into like this creature that's called the Onbusu Man, or Onbusa Man, something like that. And it's like this spirit that like hangs on and feeds off of your guilt. And the more guilt you have, the heavier he weighs on your shoulders, right? So it's just crushing you until you just die from guilt, right? And so he was exorcised in one of the craziest exorcisms in the story so far. Like, one of the coolest. I can't wait till this is animated, because there's a band playing. There's a huge, like, there's this big thing that they build, and they're just flying down the streets, and all of these crazy yokai are coming out, and this ombudsman is just insanely strong, and he does not want to get exorcised, so he's just like doing everything he can. It's going to be so cool when they animate it. Just trust me. And so what my Cowabunga, what her ability is that she gives Rin the ability to sing. She's kind of like Uta from One Piece, where she like sings and powers come out, and she can like use her abilities. The stronger, the more she sings. It's not my favorite ability. I'm not into that. I didn't really like Uta that much, but she is pretty formidable when she gets into her full on. And like the more she embodies that, because Rin's really shy. She's like singing. She's like, I don't really want to sing, but she's a great singer. But when she like fully embraces like the K-pop, whatever, not K-pop because they're Japanese, but like that pop star embodiment of being a singer, she really gets very strong, and she could do a lot of things. Like she has this like floating thing that like helps her do this magic stuff, and then I don't know, it's kind of crazy. It's not really touched on too much, but she's really strong when she goes into like her full form, and we haven't seen her fully embrace it yet because she's still really shy. So I know she's gonna get stronger, but she's still super awesome. And that leads me into the next one, Mrs. Ira. So Ira, we all know her, acrobatic Silky. She's badass. She's one of the best hand-to-hand combat yokai, especially with her hair. She can entangle everybody up with her hair. She's good at offense and defense because of her hair, especially good at immobilizing enemies. And she's really strong, really powerful, has really good kicks, really flexible. You know, she's super strong, really formidable. Not as strong as some of the other yokais, but she's right there, right? Like she's right there. She's badass when she goes into her yokai. She's kind of reminds me of like, you know, she's like a tier down from Okarun, where like she kind of reminds me like the tenacity Okarun brings with his kicks and his punches. She's kind of like that. She's badass. I like her a lot. She's definitely ranked number 4. So, you know, she's definitely going to get stronger as well. And Acrobatic Silky, man, we all loved that backstory, dude. It was so sad, so awesome. And I love how Ira just really embraces her as, like, her mother, right? So, you know, Acrobatic Silky's always going to have her back. And I think she's badass. I love that. Her hair power, how she could just, like, use her hair for every, you know, extra arms and, like, entangle people, yada, yada. I love that. And then I just love her fighting style. Her hand-to-hand combat is, like, so sick. She dodges. She kicks. She's so badass. I really like Acrobatic Silky. She's ranked number 4 though, because there are 3 more, technically now 2, that are stronger than her. And the third one, in my opinion, I think he has the strongest 1-2 punch, like the strongest boom, like when he hits you, it's the hardest any yokai is going to hit you, and that's Unjizuma, aka Umbrella Boy, who's his little brother who ended up dying. And he got washed out into a river during a rain, I think. He had like an umbrella with him somehow, some way. I kind of forget, but his brother ends up dying, right? And he had an umbrella with him, so his brother kind of haunts him with the umbrella, and he braced it, and now his brother kind of like, he could do like the turbo granny with him, and he has like this crazy mouth, like this eyeglass thing that kind of like, you know, resembles like a sniper, and he can use his umbrellas to kind of fly when they like open and close really hard. He like projects himself, and he can fly and stuff, but then he uses the tip of the umbrella when he hits you, poof, and opens it up. It causes this insane explosion. And when they were trapped in the game when he was first introduced, the what's it called, the board game, he was one-shotting, like, huge yokai, like, one-tapping them, and they were just crumbling into pieces. Now, I know that they weren't, like, specific yokai, like, strong yokai themselves. They were a part of the board game, but they were very strong, and he was, like, one-tapping these guys. The downfall is that he only has 2 umbrellas, and when he uses that force, that punch, it literally destroys the umbrella for a certain amount of time until it can like repair itself so he can use it again, right? And then at the end of his arc, he was possessed by the fairy tale card yokai, which pretty much like brought out its max potential, and he went toe to toe with Okarun in his turbo granny form, and he was pretty much, they were like this, like Unji was here, Okarun was here. He could have beat Okarun. He could have. It could have went either way. Okarun ended up winning, being on top. So there was a moment where like Unji was stronger than Turbo Granny. Umbrella Boy is like right there with Turbo Granny because, in my opinion, Turbo Granny is the strongest. Obviously, he's the main character. He's going to be the strongest, just like how Momo's eventually going to be, one of the strongest. But Unji Zuma is definitely one of the strongest, and I think he packs the biggest 1-2 punch. And if you ask me, if him versus Evil Eye, if it was Evil Eye he fought, I think he beats Gigi, and I think he did. He kind of wrecked Gigi during that time when they were in the board game. If I do remember correctly, if not, whatever. But I think he did pretty much wreck Evil Eye when he was in his maxed out potential state, right? And so he's not ever going to be in that state again, so I do give Evil Eye the advantage. I think he is stronger. We'll get into that here in a second. But yeah, I do think Umbrella Boy is top 3. I think he's third, but I do think he packs the strongest, rawest power with the 1-2 punch, right? I think he's like pure strength wise, he's the strongest, but he only could do it twice until he has to reload, right? Which takes forever. Other than that, he's fast. He's agile. He's still strong and really cool in his own right. But if without his umbrellas, it's like 90% of what he could do is gone, right? So, yeah, that's why he's ranked third. But number 2 is now number 1 because number 2 was Evil Eye, right? But now he's number 1, Gigi and Evil Eye, because if you have been reading the manga recently, Gigi knows how to go back and forth from Evil Eye. He's the only yokai user where he gets fully possessed. He can't just bring Evil Eye out. That's how strong the Evil Eye is. He just fully possesses you. He can't be, like this split type of deal like what Umbrella Boy and Unji or Granny, Turbo Granny and Okarun. He fully gets possessed by the Evil Eye and he comes out and it's fully just him, right? But in a really cool chapter, him explaining on how he kind of figured that out. Him and Evil Eye were having some bonding time, and they were playing a game, and Evil Eye wanted to play, and then Gigi wanted to play, so he kept going back and forth, like it was Gigi, then it was him, then it was like every second, every button, it was like Gigi, then Evil Eye, Gigi, Evil Eye, so they were like playing this game pretty much together, going back and forth, and they were doing it so fast, at such a fast rate, that they got it down to where they were pretty much the same person, right? So now Gigi and Evil Eye are on that length, on the wave of being able to do it, hence my thumbnail. If you look at my thumbnail all the way on the right, that's, the Evil Eye and Gigi in their pretty much fused forms. They're not necessarily fused, but that's them, right? And what's awesome about this is that when Gigi was fighting Enenra in the latest chapters, who is a smoke yokai, and he's just a regular yokai, like he just looks like a human, but he's a straight up yokai. And he's the embodiment of smoke, and he's that's just what he is. And he's the first smoke user to finally just put smoke in someone's lungs and just like totally immobilize them from the fight, just by filling their lungs up with smoke. And this is why I think Gigi is the strongest now, because Gigi has been focusing on his like chi and his chakra, whatever you want to call it, like his inner chi. Same thing, kind of like with Momo. He's not on that same level of being like a medium like Momo is, but he does have he knows how to control his chi and his chakra, whatever you want to call it, right? He knows how to control it, and he has this chi blast that is pretty much a Kamehameha, but he does it one way. It spins one way and it does one thing. It spins the other way and it does another thing. Sorry about that. And I forget specifically what it does, but he could rotate it, kind of like a Rasengan, kind of like mixed with a Kamehameha. And now, when Enenra was whooping on Grandma Reiko, he was pretty much, he came through as Evil Eye to save Reiko, right? And when he did, he couldn't hit the smoke yokai because he's made out of smoke. He just couldn't hit him. And he was able to tank all of the shots as being the Evil Eye. He was able to tank the shots, but he wasn't able to do any offense because he just couldn't hit the smoke. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I bet you, because when he was whooping on Reiko, I'm like, well, fucking Reiko, she's not even like using any spirit medium powers. I'm like, how does she how does she know all this stuff? And like, is she just like good at reading stuff? Is she not like Momo, where she can have spiritual senses and telekinesis? Obviously not, because she just uses a lot of hand-to-hand combat. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe another spirit has to fight him. And then Evil Eye came along. That didn't work. So I'm like, okay, well, then maybe it has to be someone like Momo, who uses like spiritual power to fight off the yokai, right? Because that makes sense. You have to use spiritual, medium power to fight this yokai. And so when Evil Eye came out, I was like, well, maybe Gigi turns away from Evil Eye, because obviously it wasn't working. So maybe he turns Evil Eye off, and he did. Turn the Evil Eye off, hit him with his fucking Kamehameha Spirit Chi Wave, and it actually did damage. And it hurt him, and it hit him. He's like, what the fuck, how'd you hit me? Okay, you think that's, what you could do? But too bad you're not the Evil Eye, so you're not going to be able to take my punches. You're just going to die. And he gets hit, boom, turns into Evil Eye. He's like, yeah, I got this down, son. I could go back and forth. And so he gets to the point where he reveals he could go back and forth so much that he's pretty much in his Evil Eye form, but he could still use his chi. So homeboy brings all the smoke around him, goes into his lungs. He's like, and then he goes, wait, I remember what Grandma Reiko taught me, that no matter what is in my way, I can still use my chi, even if there's an object in my way. And he goes, boom, and hits him, pops him out of his body. So sick, so peak. So now Gigi is able to use his human chi techniques within the Evil Eye's body, right? Embodiment of Evil Eye, plus the Evil Eye's offense and defense buffs that it gives him. So now he could go hand-to-hand combat with any strong, yokai, and he could use his chi just in case he needs to really use that spirit medium stuff against yokais, right? If it doesn't work, like the fight we're currently in. Well, it's over now, but you know what I mean. And so I rank Gigi as the strongest yokai user. Okarun is not Turbo Granny anymore, so he cannot be on the list. Unfortunately, he was ranked number 1. Now he is the weakest. He doesn't have any powers. He got a new weapon from Grandma Psycho. I've been saying Reiko, right? Grandma Seiko. What the fuck? Why am I forgetting her name? Guys, I fight MMA. I'm a little, I fight MMA. I train MMA. I spar a lot. Not really a lot, but, I'm just trying to say. Sometimes I forget. Grandma Seiko. And so he got a new weapon from Grandma Seiko, and we have yet to see what it is. And this is the funny thing. I've always said Okarun looks like Harry Potter, and the weapon that she gave him was a stick this big. Looks just like a wand. I'm going to make a video about that, kind of thinking about what it might be. But it's looking like he might be like a wizard, dude. Like, that shit would be tight, because we already got yokais, we got spirits, we got aliens, we got ancient mythological creatures. Wizards and witches, dog. I mean, they're mythological. They're, that would be sick. So he's got a stick. He still hasn't figured out what it is or what it does. We haven't really seen him, because we've been stuck with Uji, Momo, and them, trying to get Momo back to, her normal size. She's like a pygmy. But Uji's number 1, and Unji Zuma is now number 2. So then that means Ira's 3, so that's just how it is. I think that he's the strongest yokai right now. I do think, like I said, Zuma packs the hardest one too, but at the end of the day, I think all around Gigi's just the strongest right now. And it's going to stay that way until we find another yokai, or maybe Turbo Granny gives her powers back, which I kind of just don't see why, if Okarun's going to get an OP weapon, if it is OP. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But anyway, that's the video. Make sure you like, subscribe. I will see you guys on the next one. Hey, hey, how many people are talking about DanDaDan on YouTube? I know there's a good amount, but, like, not a whole lot. It's not like One Piece where there's so many One Piece creators. Hey, give your boy a sub if you like the video. Peace out, everybody.